One-foot-flipper.
Hi, Paige here, the 1-Foot Flipper, and we're going to do my 4,000 subscriber Q&A session. I've taken comments in the last 3 or 4 videos. I have picked 36 questions that I'm going to answer in this video over a wide variety of topics. And then I'm going to give away $20 in store credit to one of these random 36. I will use one of those random things on the internet that can roll dice or something. Let's actually pull one of those up right now. Oh, Google's got one already. Perfect. All right, I'll pull that up and put it on the screen here so I can point the camera at it when it's time to do that. All right, thanks to all the viewers who got me here, and I'd also like to specifically thank Rad Relics. Apparently, they gave me a $2 super thanks yesterday, and I didn't even barely realize that was a thing. I'd certainly never had one before. They said, thank you for making these quality videos and approaching subjects others will not. And Rad Relics, thank you for watching. So glad you are. Okay, question number 1 from Ashton C. Great video. Can you make a video about why you don't accept returns? Or if you have, let us know. Thank you. A short story is basically accepting returns or not accepting returns is important or not important depending on whether or not your particular store is something that the eBay algorithm is important to. My store is usually based on having best price and having mostly items that have specific names, and the eBay algorithm does not matter very much when it comes to those items. When someone is searching for this specific Yoshi's Cookie trading card, they're searching for it by name. The algorithm doesn't matter. They're going to buy the cheapest one in the condition that they want. So there's no reason for me to offer free returns on that card or returns at all. So that's why I don't offer returns. If I was a clothing seller, I would offer returns. Absolutely. Michi Bell asked, my question is that when you have holiday themed items, Halloween, Thanksgiving, Christmas, do you feel it's better to list those a month or two before the holiday the item represents, or do you sell holiday items all year round? I sell them all year round. However, I have a regular markdown schedule I do in my items, but I do not mark down holiday items until they have already made it past their season at least once. Like I just put up a couple of giant Halloween decorations that talk and they're animated and everything else, and those are not going to get a markdown unless they make it past Halloween. And after that, then they will get the markdown schedule will still be slower than normal, but then they'll start getting markdowns. CM Retro Gaming asks, if you could only sell one item on eBay, what would it be? I wish I could find an endless supply of vintage t-shirts. Easy to list, easy to ship. I'm going to pick role-playing game rulebooks, like Dungeons & Dragons and so on. These are easy to list, easy to ship, and every single one of them is valuable. I can, list these much faster than you can list a vintage t-shirt, and I can ship them just as fast. That would absolutely be my number. If I only had to sell one thing, and I could somehow get an endless supply of those, that's what it would be. Number 4, Rancor Prime says, congrats on 4K. My question is, what is your history with Magic the Gathering? I learned how to play Magic the Gathering from the PC version of the game on Steam, probably 8, 9, 10 years ago, maybe even a little bit longer than that. And eventually I bought some bulk cards at the local V-Stock place. Then I met a friend who played in real life, got involved in playing in stores. Eventually I got offered a little part-time work at a store that sold the cards, because at the time I was a stay-at-home father, because life situation had put me into that. And they, first they knew I was really good at looking through cards to find value, because I was always pulling valuable cards out of their nickel card bin. And over time that morphed into a bigger position there, where they let me work my daughter's exact school schedule. I ended up being one of their product buyers, and I ran their eBay. And I did that right up until I lost my leg. I still play today, but I don't play as often, and I right now am not really purchasing. I'm not no longer building a collection or purchasing any new Magic products for myself because I don't like what the company's doing with the game. Number 5, Casey Wilson says, great channel. We never miss a video. Where did you meet your wife? Just thought I'd throw in a personal question since I hadn't seen many. Thank you from Indiana. I met my wife at church. I was 30 years old, and I was about to actually go to try to switch churches because I wanted to, meet a wife, but I was about to switch churches because I had exhausted every opportunity with the 4 single women in my church. I think there was 5, but one of them already had children. I think she was a year or 2 older than me, and that nothing clicked there. But I had exhausted every opportunity with the rest of them, especially having spent probably 4 or 5 years doing will they or won't they with one of them who finally all of a sudden up and met and married somebody else. And I was about to quit, and then she showed up, and I met her, and my life changed. Number 6, Rising Reality said, do you have a certain time of day you like listing? Do you schedule listings? How many new listings do you have go live on an average day? Like, do you have a daily quota for yourself to meet? I don't have a time of listing day. It is varied wildly throughout my eBay career. Do I schedule listings? I don't use the schedule feature, but when I'm ahead of things, I do use a draft bank when I'm ahead of things. I am currently not ahead of things at all. My draft bank is at 0. I've been putting a lot more time into YouTube lately and that's been really cutting down on my eBay. And if I have a giant buy and they're easy listers, I try to have 30 go live per day. Otherwise, I try to have 20 go live per day, and that is 7 days per week. I have been slightly failing on that. I think yesterday I only got 10 live. Today, because there was a little bit of a mix-up and something didn't get carried upstairs, I was all planning to do records today all day long. The records ended up upstairs. The record player ended up upstairs, but the record player table did not. So I decided to do this video today instead of tomorrow. And I will probably get no listings up today whatsoever, which is a rarity for me. Number 7, the Quirky Picker, Chad, asks, would you be willing to walk us through your process of how you mark your products down every so many days if it doesn't sell? Maybe specifically how you do it, not just in general. Okay, sure. When a normal item gets to be, right before it gets to be 3 months old, when it's on that last day, I end the item. And then I end them in bulk, and then I select them, and I select from the ended items in bulk, and I hit Sell Similar. When I go to the bulk editor, I mark down the Buy It Now price on all of them by 10%. With a minimum price of $1.99. I don't sell anything for less than $1.99. And then I relaunch those items and delete the items out of ended. There are a few variations that I do to that. Sometimes I have large lots of items in which I'm just trying to find the price. Those I will often start at $100, and as long as those are picking up watchers, I will mark those down every 10 days. Until they find their buyer. And I mark down collectible card game cards quicker because they sell like commodities. They have very specific prices, and if my card hasn't sold, it's probably because the price on the card is trending down. So I mark those down at 1 month, not at 3 months. And on my holiday items, like I said earlier, I do let them get to their holiday once before they get marked down. Number 8, Greg Simpson says, hey Paige, congrats on the 4,000 subs. Thanks, Greg. My question is, when you make lists, why are they always in the number 8? Now, if you've been looking at my videos lately, you see I have lots of videos of 8 of this, 8 of that, and it's really just because the first one that I came up with had 8 items on it. And so I just did it again, and again, and again. And I kind of like 8 better than 10 at this point. Probably because I'm not reaching for those last 2 items so much if there's not truly 10 talking points. And I think maybe it'll do a little better for me in search because there's a lot of top 10 lists of things on YouTube. A lot. All right, number 9, Buccaneers Bargains. Congratulations. Thanks, Buccaneers. Can you please tell me why eBay is always having technical issues? They're going to have to put that poor guy in St. Louis in a padded room soon if eBay doesn't get their stuff together. By the guy in St. Louis, I'm certain they're referring to James, my boring reseller life. I'll address the first part of the question soon. eBay's always having technical issues because eBay is one of the largest and most complicated websites in the world. And they're constantly working on tuning things and changing things. And in a situation, and when they are changing things, they're often rolling out these changes incrementally to small pools of people. And there are going to be constant issues when you're having something like that. But these issues do not destroy your business long term. Any issue can affect any given seller on any given day, maybe any given week, but long term, your business is your responsibility, and eBay's glitches or technical issues are not stopping your success in the long term. And as far as James, my boring reseller life, he's local to me. We both live in the same town, but we approach our businesses with a very different mindset, and we have very different ways of doing things. He has a very massive media and hat store, and he's definitely going for multi-item sales and algorithm-based sales. And that possibly could be more vulnerable to downturns. I'm not sure. I've never ran that type of store, but I'm certain that he's an expert at it because his overall sales numbers are better than mine, and they're better than probably I've seen on any other YouTube channel. Number 10, apparently Buccaneers Bargains got 2 separate questions in on different videos and they ended up in a row. So if number 10 comes up, it will not be eligible for a prize. How many licks does it take to get to the center of a Tootsie Pop? I'm going to say 0. I'm one of the people who bites into them. Number 11, Steven says, my question is, at one point, do you think a reseller should switch from selling on eBay to selling on their own store websites like Shopify and save on the selling fees? If you're the picker type, then the answer is probably never. You're never going to get the traffic to your own site cheaper than eBay will bring you the traffic. Many specialist web retailers, including the one I used to work at, with very successful sites, still mirror large portions of their inventory on eBay. eBay and Amazon have the 2 biggest amounts of traffic in the world. Bob's Antiques is probably never going to take off at all. If you're just doing it for fun and you can somehow get the traffic, sure, you can have Bob's Antiques all day long, but you're going to make more money selling it on eBay than you are on Bob's Antique Store. Number 12, David Osborne says, hey, Mr. One Foot Flipper, how long have you been eBay full-time, and what year was your most profitable? How did you get there? I've been eBay full-time since the spring of 2020, after I came home from the hospital from having my right leg amputated. And how I got there, my most profitable year was last year. I've been more profitable each year. And how I got there was just continuing to source items and sell them. I think sellers tend to get more profitable year over year. For one thing, just because they build up more inventory. Sometimes things take months or years to sell, or you have things in the, that you never got around to listing. Like, I have spent very little money on sourcing this year at all because I've got so many things that I had just never listed from past purchases. And I know my profits are not going to continue to go up forever because I'm one person. I'm not interested in hiring people. But until then, I think they're going to keep going up. I think this year will be more profitable than last year, even though I'm going a little slower at the moment. Number 13, Mr. Dennis Hubbard says, since there is no eBay shipping discount on calculated media mail, do you add a handling fee to offset eBay's fees assessed on shipping? My media mail items are so low margin with promoted listings add-on can be $1 or more. Thank you for straight talk content. Well, Dennis, I use a flat media mail rate for most of my items of $5.49 with a slight increase for each extra item. I only use calculated media mail for lots or for single ridiculously heavy books. I do not promote my media at all because I am not a media specialist. So my media is based upon lowest price, like most things in my store are. So there is no reason for me to promote those items. Number 14, Liam's Hustle says, what was your original career that made you start reselling? How long have you been reselling for? Can't say that I ever had a real original career. I graduated high school in 1995, right when the world was changing, where baby boomers were extending, the previous generation was real busy not retiring. The education requirements for various jobs were ramping up, but nobody really realized that. Most people, like in my family, they just said, oh, you're a man, you graduate high school, go out and get a good job. Most good jobs weren't there. I went through a variety of things, restaurants, retail. I finally ended up working at a hotel for over a decade. I started off behind the front counter at night, and eventually I morphed into this weird position that doesn't normally exist, in which my title was chief engineer. I was technically the maintenance man, but I spent half of my time behind the counter and more in an assistant general manager role, and I lost that job eventually in the second or third complete management turnover in a year and a half, in which I was the only member of management left at that point who hadn't been let go in the previous turnovers, and they let me go on their first day. As far as how long I've been reselling for, I've been doing eBay on and off since 97 or 98. One of those two. Number 15, J Beer asks, would you do a fitness transformation journey? You have dedication to eBay and YouTube. I think that dedication would transfer to fitness. I am somewhat open to that, but my physical limitations do make the exercise part of that hard, because I'm already pushing my body physically to its limits just doing my daily activities. So it really have to be honestly more diet based, and I have gained some weight since I came home from the hospital. Most of it actually this year. I think I've gained 20 pounds this year. I came home from the hospital weighing about 305 or so, quickly stabilized at about 315, but now I weigh about 335, and most of it came this year. I have not been paying as good enough attention this year as I should, and I'm already working to reverse that. Number 16, Ashton C says, whose voice is it saying "one foot flipper" before the camera falls on the intro? That I just looked for a free online text to speech. I believe I used the Ukrainian female voice setting. Number 17, Chad Doherty. What is your favorite fast food restaurant, and why do you like ketchup so much? My favorite fast food restaurant is White Castle. And I like ketchup so much because it's good on everything. Although White Castle have raised their prices significantly now, so I don't foresee going there all that much in the future. At this point, with the amount of money I spend at White Castle when I go, I could go to an actual sit-down restaurant and have a real dinner. It's getting a little crazy. Number 18, David the Toy Man says, do you think the DVD is dead forever? Well, David, short story, yes, the DVD is dead forever, and so is the Blu-ray. But long story, I think the 4:3, chopped down aspect ratio DVDs that everyone currently hates, I think those are eventually going to become a thing amongst CRT TV enthusiasts, because they actually fill the screen. I know everybody hated those before, but that's just, if I had to make one prediction about that, is that 4:3 DVDs will eventually make a comeback. And it will be the DVDs, not the Blu-rays. Number 19, Lozzie Burger. I'm in Australia, but still some tips that were helpful over here too. Skipping forward. Just wondering, does it take a long time to do your shipping as you sell a lot of different items? I do spend an hour or two per day on shipping. It does take me longer, I think, than it takes other sellers because of my disabilities and because I don't have a proper shipping table set up right now. I have 2 shelves worth of shipping materials, but no table. That's something that I'm going to be changing in the future. And also, I have to do a lot of hopping and standing on one leg when I'm shipping things. It's not fun. Number 20, Jan Sawyer. I noticed that you sell a little bit of everything, not just one niche. Do you think it's better to sell all different types of items as opposed to just like fashion? I want to start improving my eBay store, and I'm not sure what the better option is. Money-wise, if you can only sell one thing, that is absolutely the best option. Then you can know everything about that thing, and you will get faster and better at that thing and spend less time researching. However, I don't have that liberty at all. The sourcing is more difficult for me, so I take what I can get when I can get it. And I have my niche of tabletop gaming, but I can't always get that. I haven't bought a collection since August of 2022. And that stuff is quickly running out at this point. I'd love to buy another collection. If you've got a big collection of Dungeons and Dragons or Warhammer or stuff like that, box it up, send it to me. I'll pay you for it, definitely. But right now, I'm definitely branching out into lots of different areas because of that. Number 21, not a good reseller. Should check out his channel. He's got some funny parody videos, and he's still getting started on YouTube. He said, my question for your Q&A is, what was the biggest scam that happened to you on eBay, and what did you do about it? I've not really had any large scams happen to me on eBay. I think the worst, a lot of little things, usually with trading cards, usually Pokemon trading cards, but honestly the biggest one was a bait and switch return, which I knew in the pictures that it wasn't the same item, and I simply blocked the customer and refunded. I knew there was no way for me to win it, and any time then that every bit of time I put into it would simply be lost time. So I cut my losses on that immediately and moved on with my life. Number 22, Miss Elizabeth said, how has your business model changed since you began selling on eBay? What direction do you plan to take your business in the future? Biggest thing that's changed since I started is I started off as a collectible card specialist. Now I no longer source those items. And I started off thinking that I can dump everything out at market price and forget about it forever. Like when I listed my collectible cards, I would check the database and see what the database said the market price was. I would dump them out at that price and forget about them. Or when I was going to list an item, I would do what a lot of other YouTube tell you to do. I'd look up the comps and I'd list it in the middle. And that doesn't actually work as well as you'd think it would be. I'm not going to say I lost thousands of dollars, but I lost thousands of dollars in potential sales to that method, particularly on collectible cards, on the ones that went down. Because I wasn't paying any attention, I thought I'll just launch them out at market price and forget about them. And guess what? Not every product maintains their price overall, and regardless of what it is. And now I try to have more aggressive, as in aggressively good deals in my prices, so my items move and I don't end up even worse off because their market prices turn down. Number 23, online classics. Do you have a minimum selling or profit margin in mind when you list and source new items? In other words, do you only purchase your items that will provide a $10 or more profit? Please explain your thoughts on item profit targets. I have no specific item profit targets. My profit targets are really more just about time spent than they are anything else. If I only make $2 profit on an item, but I only spend 2 minutes on that item, that's fine. I mean, 2 minutes total, find, source, list, ship. That's absolutely fine. $60 an hour. That's great. I never made more than $16.50 when I had a real job. When I had a real job. Now that was also over a decade ago at this point. So I'm sure that would be a much higher amount of money today. But no, it's to me it's all about the time, not about the per item. Number 24, Flippin' Las Vegas. If you're going to collect any role-playing game today that you feel will be worth many multiples in the coming years, what would it be? Now, I don't suggest myself investing in collectibles because that can definitely go wrong, but if you're going to pick something in the role-playing game category, I would pick the Dungeons and Dragons 3.5 edition hardcover gaming books. They haven't seriously spiked in price yet. They stopped making them 10 or 15 years ago. And the license that those products had allowed other companies to make material for them, And those other companies are still making material for that game. Hundreds of new things come out for that game every year, but the actual game books, the official ones, do not. Now, the prices are higher on the AD&D first and second edition, but the prices on that stuff have risen so high that it's less likely to have huge returns in the future, particularly as the people who started on those older versions are already in their 40s or older. And finally, I just wanted to note that West End Games' Ghostbusters role-playing game is a very solid bet for value now and in the future. It didn't sell all that well when it came out, and there's just too many people with Ghostbusters collections, not even role-playing game collections, are going to want to add that. Number 25, Malik Ghulam Rasul. Sorry if I pronounced that wrong. First thing, you're looking great. Thanks. My question is, how many listings should be posted daily to remain in the game? I'm going to think overall you're going to want to list at least 30% more than your sales goal for the week. This is to account for markdowns and for items that never sell. Now, that 30% more might be in the number of listings or the dollar amount. Depends on whether your goal is a dollar amount or a number of listings. Spreading them out over the week seems to do better for most people, but probably in the long term, it probably doesn't matter at all. Number 26, 40 said, how old is your dog? Also, what breed? Yes, I want to know about the dog. Yes, I know this is an eBay YouTube. My dog Parker, who is out in the backyard, and I could not get her to come in for this. I'll put a picture of her up here. She's in a box in this picture. She loves boxes. Her name is Parker. She's about 1.5 years old. We got her from the shelter. There were multiple dog questions, so I'm answering all of them into this one. My wife says she's 20% pointer, 20% beagle, and 80% bad dog. And I guess that's about it. She's a handful for me. I can't personally take her on walks. She tries to escape too much. Other people have to do it, because if she gets out that front door, I cannot catch her. Although she did escape the backyard once and came to the front door, but I don't know how long she was gone. The other time she's escaped, my family's had to chase her up the street, and it's been a real big thing. Oh, another question from the same person. So number 10 and number 27 are both out, are both ineligible to win. There, Malik Ghalim Razul says, how do you pack the golf clubs? Can you please show a packaged item? Thanks again. Not going to show a packaged item because there's nothing to see. I simply buy the 4x4 by 48 inch boxes on Amazon. I put the club inside the box. I cut the box down to length. I tape it up. I send it out. No packing material. Nothing. Every one of them's got there fine. I package bats the exact same way. Generally on those, I do a $10 flat rate shipping UPS on golf clubs and on bats, because it ends up costing around that. It costs a little less usually, but that box costs a little bit of money. Some people say to do free shipping on that because you can work it in, but I'd rather do the calculated shipping, so if I send an offer, it's not also cutting out of my shipping money. Number 28, Grandkids Galore said, have you done a whatnot auction before? I have not. I don't have the kind of following to have immediate whatnot success like some other people have. I got a viewer sale last night, and it was my first one in a month. I'm not ADH Dave or Old School Picker or Commonwealth Picker. I'm not one of those guys who have these super devoted customers who buy their things day after day after day. Now, if Whatnot ever becomes the real place to make the money, I will absolutely be there. But as of right now, I just think it's a more difficult platform with a lower overall profit potential than eBay is. So I'm not bothering. Number 29, Bad Days Basil says, I haven't gone back and watched every single video of yours, if you'll forgive me, but must know, what's up with the urine off dog? Uo here, I found him in the bins before I started the channel. I was planning the channel for 4 to 5 months before I ever launched it. I had the GoPro for months before I launched the channel. I found Uo the urine off dog before I launched the channel, and I knew that he was going to be my mascot. Because Commonwealth Picker has a mascot based on an enema, and I thought a dog pee based mascot was even better. And apparently the urine off dog is far rarer than an enema man. Nobody's ever been able to find another one since I've started this channel. I've Could not find another one or a mention of another one anywhere. He may be a one of a kind item that was just made for a trade show table one time and was never made again. I don't know. Number 30, Karashea. Oh, fun. Personal questions. Lol. Let me see. I have a 17-year-old and 9-year-old. My 17-year-old doesn't want to drive. Does your daughter look forward to when she is old enough? It isn't something she's talked about all that much. Personally, as a parent, I would rather give her gas money and let her friends drive than have her drive as a teenager, just because it's cheaper. For one thing, because it's cheaper, and it's a little better for me as a parent because then she doesn't have the ability to run off at any given time. And also because I know I had great grades in school until I got a car. And then suddenly I was never home to do my homework, both because I had a car so I could leave whenever I wanted to, and I had a job to support the car. I went from having great grades to barely graduating. Now, one thing about my daughter driving, though, is my first midlife crisis car, because I have two of them, my first midlife crisis car, which I bought, I think when I was 29 or so, maybe a little younger than that, 29 or 30, was a 1984 Mercedes SL convertible. I still have that. It's kind of getting a little rough in my driveway. It got parked needing minor repairs right before I lost my leg, but it could be brought back to life, and I just think my daughter would be the coolest girl in school if she had, if she was driving to school in what at that point was a 50-year-old Mercedes convertible sports car. I mean, she'd be the only one, guaranteed. My second midlife crisis car is I went back and I had a convertible truck lowrider when I was 18 years old, and I went back and I bought another one. Same model, same year. Not same everything, though. I didn't do all the dumb mods to it. I'll throw a picture of it up here. It looks pretty conservative, actually, as far as things like that go. All right, let's move on. Number 31, Susan K. said, here are some questions for you. What will your new house be like? Where do you live? How many children do you have? Are you able or planning to exercise for health? How long have you been married? Are you a Christian? I'm hoping my new house will be larger and more flat, ideally somehow if there could be a driveway that curved around to a basement entrance. That would be the greatest thing in the world. I live in St. Charles, Missouri. I have one child, daughter, Julie. She's 10. I am not planning my exercise or health nearly as good as I should be. I've been married for 13 years. I am a Christian, but I am not currently a member of any church. I have not liked the political direction Christian culture has taken lately, and I whenever I do try to go to anywhere as an amputee, I attract way more attention than I'm comfortable with for some reason. Every single man in the church wants to be my friend, and it's just not all that comfortable. Number 32, Marilyn Bird. Well, you wanted personal questions. My question is, were you on disability when you started reselling? The answer is no. I have never been on disability. Not at all. Not a single day. I've never taken any government money at all, other than when we were lower income, my health insurance through the marketplace was somewhat subsidized. But now I make enough money where it's not. Number 33, IR333. Business question. Although you go thrifting, does the bulk of your inventory comes to you by networking, wholesaling, auctions, pallets? I'm going to say the bulk by dollar amount comes via networking. You've seen in videos, I've mentioned that I have a couple of sources, and I always buy a massive collection of gaming when I am able to, and I haven't done this in a long time, but I also bought, huge lots of overstock and from my former employer or things they were getting out of. And then after that, it's garage sales. I don't do any really wholesaling. I don't go to public auctions. Don't buy pallets. Number 34, Tim McMinn said, Paige, regarding your need for replacement transportation, if by chance you are a veteran, I believe the VA provides financial assistance. This is because I've been mentioning my van has expired plates on it right now, and I need to buy another one. I don't need any sort of financial assistance. I actually am a veteran, but I don't need any sort of financial assistance whatsoever. It's just, I'm waiting for the right thing to show up. Here's my thing. I only drive 3,000 miles a year. And if I bought a new car, might as well buy a coffin, right? Because it's going to outlive me. So what I'm looking for is something older that's already fully depreciated, but that's also in nice condition. And by fully depreciated, you know, something 16 to 20 years old, you know, that's never going to drop in value again just from getting older. But that's also in nice shape. That's what, and it has to be something I can drive, which means practically minivan or SUV. And just so far, nothing has shown up, right place, right time, when I could actually go out and buy it. The few candidates that I wanted to go after sold out from under me before I could even get there. Number 35, Ned David. Hi, watch your show all the time since I found the channel. Find your advice clear-headed and realistic. No BS. That's what sets you apart. Thanks for that. Wonder if you could give advice on how to ship records. I know you get the shippers on Amazon, but I was wondering other steps do you take, such as a poly sleeve for the album, cardboard insert, to put the album on the outside of the cover, etc. I do none of that. I put the album directly into the box, and I tape the box up. I have shipped hundreds of albums that way with sale prices between $1.99 and $200. I've not had a single damaged album, which tells me that I can ship via that method and the damage amounts round down to zero. So no, I don't buy any extra anything. And also with a lot of albums inside that box are 15 ounces. If you start adding any sort of other packing material to that, you can be over a pound before you know it. Finally, number 36, 40 asks, okay, different question. I noticed your shirt from a specific video. Are you a fan of Pokemon, games, show, manga, or TCG? If yes, how long have you been a fan, and what's your favorite generation? I'm not going to really say I'm a fan of Pokemon because I'm too old for it. Pokemon video game didn't come out until after I was already out of high school. But I have played the Game Boy game. I got that at some point in my 20s and played that. And I know how to play the card game from the video game version. Really, the reason I had the Pokemon shirt is because I worked at a store that sold Pokemon cards, and my daughter is quite a big fan of Pokemon. I myself could pretty much take it or leave it. All right, and I think now that's all of them. Thanks for all of your questions. Wow, this is going to be my longest video. 37 minutes editing. I'm 37 minutes so far. We're going to get the camera here. We're going to generate that random number. Number 20. All right, let's scroll up to my notes here and see who number 20 is. Number 20 is Jan Sawyer. All right, Jan, you are the winner. $20 credit out of my store. Jan, get a hold of me on Instagram, and we'll figure out how to get your prize to you. All right, thanks for watching my longest video ever, everybody. Hope to see you again soon.